So, have you ever stopped to think about what really makes a country, well, a country? It seems like it should be simple, right? But there's this whole fascinating legal and political world behind it. In this explainer, we're going to break down the essential pillars that define a state on the world stage. So, what is it? Is it just about having a flag or an army, maybe just a spot on the map? And yet, while those are all symbols of being a country, the actual definition is way more structured, and it's something the international community has pretty much agreed on. Turns out there's an official blueprint for this stuff, a rulebook, if you want to call it that. And it comes from a really key document in international law, the Montevideo Convention from way back in 1933. This is the document that lays out the core criteria a place has to meet to be considered a state. So here's what we're going to cover. We'll look at how a country even comes to be in the first place. We'll define those crucial pillars of statehood. Then we'll get into the super important role of international recognition. And finally, we'll tie it all together with the big one, sovereignty. All right, first up, how does a country actually come into existence? You know, it's not as simple as just planting a flag and declaring you're independent. There's a whole formal process to it, and it's all based on a really clear set of criteria. And that brings us to the core of this whole thing, the pillars of statehood. The best way to think about these is like the four legs of a table. If you're missing even one, the whole structure just can't stand up on the world stage. Okay, so as laid out in that Montevideo Convention we mentioned, here are the four non-negotiable pillars. You need a permanent population, a defined territory, a government, and the capacity to have relationships with other states. Let's break each one down. First, a permanent population. Now, this just means you need a stable community of people, and what's wild is that the size doesn't matter one bit. It could be a massive population like China's or a teeny tiny one like Vatican City's. The crucial part is that people have settled there and actually call it home. The second pillar is a defined territory. A state has got to have a physical space it can call its own. That includes land, water, and the airspace above it. What's really interesting here is that the borders don't have to be perfectly undisputed. I mean, lots of countries have border disputes. You just need a core area that the state clearly controls. Pillar number 3, a government. And listen, this isn't just about having a leader or a Capitol building. It's about having a political body that can actually govern. That means it can maintain law and order, provide basic services, and, effectively run the place. And the fourth and final pillar is the capacity to engage with other states. This one is all about independence. It's the ability to make your own decisions, sign treaties, and act as an equal on the global stage without another country pulling the strings. Okay, so we've got our 4 pillars: people, land, government, and independence. The table should be standing firm now, right? You'd think that's all it takes to be a country in the eyes of the world. But is that really the whole story? This brings us to a really critical and often very political 5th element: international recognition. Because even if you have all 4 of those pillars perfectly in place, if other countries don't acknowledge you exist, your statehood is on some seriously shaky ground. Recognition is what turns a theoretical state into a practical one. The ultimate stamp of approval is getting a seat at the United Nations. But even before that, just being acknowledged by major world powers is a huge deal. Think about a place like Taiwan. It pretty much meets all 4 criteria, right? It's got a population, a territory, and a government that engages with the world. But because its political recognition is so limited, it can't join many international groups. And this really highlights the big debate in international law. Does a state just exist because it meets the criteria, or does it only truly exist when other states say it does? So when you put all these pieces together, the 4 pillars plus that crucial international recognition, you get the ultimate prize: sovereignty. We hear this word thrown around all the time, but what does it actually mean? This quote really just nails it. Sovereignty is basically a two-sided coin. On one side, it means you have the highest authority inside your own borders. And on the other, it means you're free from other countries telling you what to do. Let's break that down just a little bit more. Internal sovereignty is a state's supreme power over its own stuff. Its people, its laws, its affairs. It's the boss in its own house. External sovereignty is its independence out on the world stage, that freedom from outside control and the right to be treated as an equal by other countries. And you really truly need both to be a complete state. Which leaves us with this one last, really fascinating question to think about. When does a state's sovereignty become truly real? I mean, a place can check off all the legal boxes on paper, but without political recognition from the rest of the world, without real power, can it ever be truly sovereign? It just goes to show you that statehood isn't some simple checklist. It's a complex and ongoing dance between law, politics, and power. Thanks for joining this explainer on the pillars of statehood.